We're live. We're live. Oh, wow, honey. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We got to make it together. We're going to make it happen together, baby. We getting it going. Examples, the relay race model equals success. Let's get started.
Good morning. My name is Brian McNeill.
And I am Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And thank you for joining us on our show, Let's Talk About It. We come to each Monday through Friday right here on the SIBN network, on iHeartRadio, YouTube, TuneIn, as well as Facebook Live. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Like. Can you give me a napkin? All right, honey. We are ready to go. Tissue, please. Good morning, Empowerment family. Thank you for joining us today on this fantastic, what's today, Wednesday?
No, yes, it is. Today is Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Wow. We are really rocking this month away. Good gracious.
Turn it in.
It's on. It's on. Well, back out and go back in. So we do have a topic today. Welcome to Let's Talk About It with the Empowerment Duo. I am one half of the Empowerment Duo, Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And I'm the other half, Brian K. McNeill. And this show is called Let's Talk About It. And we can't wait to talk about it with you. We've been going around doing this thing Monday through Friday since October of 2016. And today we're going to have a wonderful topic as well. Our topics typically range between personal conversations,
business information,
and spiritual inspiration. So what category would you put today's topic?
I think today actually falls in all three.
Okay, how so?
Because I think the power of the relay race the strength, the importance of the relay race model is useful in almost every area of our lives.
Now, if you didn't know, what's a relay race?
Talk about it.
What's a relay race? It's a team event. It's a team endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
You have a team of, say, four women runners. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Four women runners. Okay?
Women?
Let's. I'm picturing this in here, okay. And they're gonna run the 4x440. Okay, the 4x400. Okay, mm-hmm. That means four different people are gonna do a lap each, one lap each. Okay, one lap around the standardized track. Okay, so they have a baton. That means a stick that they hand to the person next. So you get your lineup.
Okay.
And mark, you set, go. All the competitors take off and they run their lap. And when they get around their lap, they want to hand it off to the next person, but they don't just work. The person that's standing there doesn't just wait for them to hand the stick to them. They have a zone, okay, a running zone where when the other person's about to hand them the baton, mm-hmm. they take off running too. They don't run too fast so they can't get the baton, but they run so that the person handing the baton can continue running all the way through the zone and hand the baton to someone else who's also already running so they can run their next leg.
Right, okay.
You know? Now, isn't that cool? The whole concept of you have to be running already before you can receive the baton. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to be doing already before you can take on your leg of the race.
I like that. I hadn't even thought about that part. But what I was thinking about when I was thinking about the relay race was how important it is to realize that every leg, if you will, every leg is important.
Yes. And now it's so interesting too, because there's different strategies on the relay race, for example. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like some teams want to put their fastest runner like second or third. Okay. Mm-hmm. or first even,
First,
because they want to get a good start.
right.
But
Then
most
third
traditional wisdom is have your fastest, strongest runner
at the end.
at the end, the fastest and the strongest, because if you're behind, you need someone who can maintain their speed for longer to catch up. So you want someone really, really strong at the end, you know? So
Good morning, Bill.
a friend of ours that we both enjoy, Schuler King, just had a bit about a relay race where when the girl, the last, next to last leg, handed the baton, the person she handed to was way behind, and the other team was way ahead. And that girl just took off running, and she passed this girl, she passed that girl, she passed the next girl, and she won the race.
Good morning, Melissa. Thank you for joining us this morning. If you're just tuning in to Let's Talk About It with the Empowerment Duo, we have been here for 5 years now.
Wow.
5 years.
What does that mean? We've been doing the show since October of 2016, so we're into our 5th year. Absolutely. So what is that a testament of?
I think it's a testament of tenacity, of stick-to-itiveness, but
adaptability.
Absolutely. But I think even more so, our 2019-2020 is an example of our willingness to add to the relay race.
Yeah. I had some other words I was thinking. I was thinking like discipline, but I think because it takes a lot of discipline to do this show this often and this much with this type of energy.
Thanks, Terrell.
But you got, you're right. So I really want to delve into your thinking when you came up with this topic today.
So I came up with it during our shared time. Ryan and I have shared couch time. We have shared talk time. We have lots of different shared times that we spend together. But yesterday, during our shared time, our shared viewing time, we actually watched a program called For Life. Now, while we were watching that program called For Life, one of the things, if you haven't watched it, it's an adaptation of the life of Isaiah Wright.
Isaac Wright Jr.
Isaac Wright Jr., who was imprisoned for life and was able to overturn his conviction.
He became a lawyer while he was incarcerated.
And he overturned his conviction after 10 or 11 years. And one of the things that was very, very obvious was that as much as it required his tenacity, as much as it required his knowledge and expertise, his perseverance, there was also a lot of people that played small roles that had they not done their parts, he would not have been successful.
There was a lot of those incidents.
The senator, the warden,
the one guard that made a call for him.
The guard that made a call for him. Absolutely. So when so it made me think of how many people is it required for your success? How many people has it been required for my success? How many people has it been required for so many different successes? So I began to break it up into pieces and parts. So
before you go there,
the topic is, again, examples that the relay race equals success.
Now, we talked about similar things to this a lot of times in the show. I even did a video, what the Hall of Fame speeches have taught me. And I break it down into categories of people that I think everyone needs to have to achieve great levels of success. Now, we're going to go through Lisa's list today, but and we're going to do that. But I do believe there's the punchline of my premise of what does it take for you to become super successful in any endeavor in life? There have to be a lot of people that want to see you successful before you become successful. Let me say that one more again. For you to win on a level that you imagine, there have to be a lot of people that want to see you win. Now, why would anybody want to see you win? Because of your character, because of what you give, because of what you're willing to do for someone other than yourself. You have to engender goodwill by doing good. You cannot win if you only work for self. And people see you don't work for anyone other than yourself. You don't extend yourself any. You don't go out of your way any. You don't give any. Then when you get into hot water, which you will, when you get into some trouble where you need someone, which is inevitable, there will be no one there for you. Your character must shine through bigger than anything else?
So I think even in the 5 examples that we give, it's bigger than one person's success.
Mhm.
Each of the examples is about a collective, collaborative, or um, universal success. And if you can tie your success to a universal success, you can probably garner more support than if you were only doing it independently.
Now, you know my list of things that I think you must have, the people that you must have in your life. Is it going to coincide with your list?
They're two different topics.
Okay.
I think you're conflating the two in such a way that they do go together. I'm not saying that they don't go together, but what I'm talking about is how they go together. You're talking about who they go together.
Okay, so let's do the how today.
Mm-hmm. So, an example of where the relay race model equals success is in civil rights.
Okay.
There are so many successes in the civil rights movement that occurred because one seemingly small and insignificant person played one seemingly small and insignificant part in the global issue. And had it not been for what they did, what happened would not have happened.
For example, 1955, Rosa Parks got off of work. And she's taking the city bus home, and her feet were tired, and her legs were tired. Now, at the time in Montgomery, Alabama, the buses were divided. The front half of the bus was for white people primarily, and the back half of the bus was for the black people. However, black people could sit in the white section if there was no one sitting there. However, if someone came onto the bus later, the law was, you had to get up and allow the white person to sit down. Now, that sounds crazy today, but that was actually a law back then in 1955. Rosa Parks didn't feel like getting up, and she got arrested. Now, she wasn't the first person to get arrested. Lots of people had. Lots and lots of people got arrested for the same crime. They didn't feel like getting up, but she didn't feel like giving up. She just so happened to have been a secretary for the NAACP, and there was another organization, the Southern Leadership Incorporation there. So,
and she was also a sympathetic individual.
She was a sympathetic individual. However, Lisa just mentioned her role was she didn't feel like getting up and was willing to be arrested for it. Just so happened to have been a part of an organization that could do something and had just enough crap. The straw that broke the camel's back. Young Martin Luther King Jr. was a great preacher at the time, was a part of the Southern Leadership Corporation. It's SNLC, something like that.
Southern Leadership Council.
Yes. And he was a great preacher. So they needed someone to put out their petitions to the bus companies and to the city council. I need someone to speak for us. This guy here is a really good preacher. Let's have him. And who could have known that relay race would have ran that way, because he ended up becoming much more than what they thought he would have been in the first place.
Good morning, Vivian. Good morning, Angelic. That's my beautiful cousin. Good morning, Diosnity.
Good morning, William Brown. Today at 11 a.m. on One Word Conversation, the word is permission. And his guest is Anna Gauker, right here on the Empowerment Duo Facebook page and the Empowerment Network. Anna Gauker. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Good morning again, Brittany and Beverly and Phyllis.
Good morning. Good morning. So the first way that relay races are equaling success, and the parallels that we can see, is in civil rights. A certain number of things had to happen collectively and in a particular sequence in order for us to have arrived at where we are. Now, here's the other thing. This is another area that often gets muddied. Well, where are we? We ain't nowhere yet. We still just listen. Every little bit gets us closer to where we want to be. And so often someone either that's looking on and doing nothing, or someone that is endeavoring to discourage those who are doing, will spout discouragement about where you are in this relay race.
We didn't make no advance. Yes, we have. Because President Kennedy was sympathetic to some of the ideas of Martin Luther King, President Lyndon Baines Johnson was able to sign into the Voting Rights Act in 1965. Kennedy had the idea. He didn't enact it. He didn't implement it. But Johnson was able to. Okay, he was able to finish what Kennedy started.
And so sometimes your role may not seem as significant in the moment that you're fulfilling it. But if it were not for that seasoning, if it were not for that tenderization, if it were not for your even just softening the ear of those who would later make those decisions, then it's quite possible that things would not have advanced to where they're going.
Emmett Till's mother decision to have an open casket burial for her son, who had been beaten and hung and drowned, so that the world could see it and take pictures of it, chose to have an open casket. And in Jet magazine, founder John Henry Johnson decided to publish pictures of Emmett Till in the open casket, let more people in the world see it, and the rest of the world, not just the United States, saw this going on in the United States and were outraged that we could tolerate this. Television broadcasting hoses on high school students protesting for an opportunity to sit at a lunch counter and sit in a public library, got hoses on them, fireman hoses, and dogs sicked on them. Being able to see that advanced that relay more.
And someone who might have been on the planning committee, the discussion committee, like, why are we showing that? Why do we need that? All of these little pieces and parts become a part of the big picture or of the big plan to bring things to a better place.
Yep. Relay. Life is not a sprint or a marathon. It's a relay race.
It's a relay race.
Same thing in your family. Your parents, your great-parents, great-grandparents moved your family up to this place.
You're getting ahead of me. That's number 3.
Okay. Fair enough.
Absolutely. So number 2 is in science.
In science. My goodness gracious. George Washington Carver, the idea that why is it that tobacco farmers will have one good season and then the next season not as good, and the next season worse and worse and worse? They couldn't figure that out.
Right. But learning the little bit of just a little bit of awareness that he learned about, let's rotate these crops.
Well, because the type of nutrients that tobacco leaves take out of the soil, they kept taking that out, depleted the soil.
Another fruit or plant may put back in.
That's right, like a potato. You take out the tobacco and put in a potato, and the potato will enrich the ground. Okay, so that you can have better tobacco later. You got to rotate your crops, homie.
Absolutely. And
just
all
like rotate your hoes.
$1. You can buy him for $1 today, and I am loaning dollars.
This guy keep using the same one.
I cannot with you. I cannot with you.
Oh my goodness.
Understand that in science, there's pieces and parts. And actually, Ms. Vivian just said it's uplifting. Actually, Ms. Vivian is a great example as well of the relay race and success, because there's pieces and parts of knowledge as it relates to vitamins and essential oils and foods that are healthier that she grasps. There are those pieces and parts. And then if you put them together with potentially with what Melissa knows, put it together potentially with what Dr. Deborah knows, and together we begin to create a better understanding of what might be necessary to bring about healing or at least address an area in health and wellness using natural or homeopathic products.
It's a great example. And sometimes in your life, think about in your life, how many things have you had to hear more than one time before it was to ring in? How many things have you had to hear 10 times before you finally got it? Oh, you mean if I eat an apple, my body will appreciate it?
Absolutely. Actually, and that's one of those things that I have had. As much as I understand and I get it here, Good morning, Cynthia. Thank you for joining us today. As much as I understand and get it here, that sometimes faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing and hearing. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. I know for a fact that no one is balking at hearing Les Brown's story over and over and over again. I know for a fact that we are reiterating some of the things that we have said over the course of these 5 years. You need to get the light for me, honey. And thank you. And I understand those things, but I still sometimes say, I don't want to repeat that again. Oh, I don't want to say that again. Oh, I don't want to.
We just talked about that, Brian.
Duh. Sometimes we need to talk about it again. And sometimes it's that last time, that reinforcement that will actually make all the pieces click and fall together.
Amen.
And the right person will finally hear what needs to be heard. For example, again, in science, what was the doctor? He was played by Mos Def in that movie that I really love. The Heart That God Made.
Yes. Charles, not Charles Drew. It's
Vivian.
Yes, but
his name is Vivian.
Something the Lord Made. The movie was called Something the Lord Made, and it was about this doctor, a white doctor, who had an assistant who was gifted in surgery, really gifted in surgery. But that assistant happened to be black. Okay,
which meant that he could not have access to certain education. He could not have access to certain opportunities. He could not have access
to certain people.
Certain tools. He couldn't even be in certain spaces in the building. There were certain roles that he couldn't even have. And so here's the thing. The doctor that he worked up under was not necessarily a progressive man. Understand, he was racist. He was not progressive. But it was beneficial to him that this doctor assist him. Well, he wasn't a doctor, that this man assist him. He realized the importance of the support that he was getting from Vivian, what's his last name? I can't think of it anyway, but the first name was Vivian. The support that he was getting from him outweighed his own feelings and opinions about racism. To save
a life, you need these man's hands. It was his hands. It was his gift. Oh man, we've been talking about gifts. I've been talking about gifts for 2 days now.
You've got to get this light fixed.
I've been talking about gifts for 2 days now. Last night in the men's meeting, we talked about your gifts making room for you, but we ended up spending most of the time, baby, talking about oh dang, it just escaped me. I was thinking about it. Okay, but go ahead. So let's cover them because it's already 9:22.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You just had a brain fart.
I did.
You were talking.
So I want to move on.
Yeah.
To cover the 3 other ones that we have left. To cover the time. We got 3 more to cover the time.
I understand what we got and what we're doing. Number 3 is.
This is not going to sound good on
Alexa. Lord Jesus.
Last night I listened to our show on Alexa. And you can too.
Yes.
If you say, Alexa, play the Empowerment Duo podcast. Play the Empowerment Duo podcast, and she will.
Absolutely.
She played the yesterday show, and I could even tell her to go to previous shows or go to the next show. It was good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So another way that the relay race equals success is in parenting. And this is another area that we often miss.
Beverly Regina Thomas says, not to include the guests that we have welcomed through YouTube that have repeatedly said the same thing you both have said. That's if any of us are paying attention or taking notes, like
Dr. Deborah.
Yeah,
Dr. Deborah. We were actually talking about Dr. Deborah. I'm not sure if it was last night or this morning. We were talking about, it was last night. You were in our bed last night, like Dr. Deborah.
Man, baby, really? You gonna say it like that?
We were talking about how some of the people that we work with take our direction really to heart and have begun to find the type of success that we know is available to all of our clients, but everybody doesn't follow the same direction and doesn't implement in the same way.
And it could be seasons for them too.
It could be. So number 3 is in parenting. And I think some of this we are losing because our parenting model is different now, right? But the success of the relay race in parenting was in the benefit of having a multi-generational home, of having the grandmother there with the mother to be able to pass down knowledge and wisdom, right? Having an aunt or an uncle nearby to share what they had also learned through life, and then equipping those two younger parents now with their informations, but allowing for them to also bring their own legacy to the table.
I think you're right. I think we do lose some of that, some of that wisdom because we're not living in multi-generational homes anymore.
No, thank you, Vivian. It was Vivian Thomas.
Thank you very much. I had an Asian friend, and he told me, and he grew up over there too. And he told me one of the things he knows is different is in his country, the parents worked, mom and dad worked, the grandparents raised the children. Okay, that's just how it goes in every household. That's how it goes. The grandparents raise and that means the grandparents are in the house. Wow. Okay, the grandparents are in the house, and their job is to raise the children, while mom and dad make the money. Okay, now that seems basic and simple, but what brilliance is in that to me?
Absolutely. I had one friend as an adult that had a multi-generational home, and I was honored to be able to see that. It was Pam. Pam's mom lived with her and her family towards the end of her life. And it was really, really great seeing the children with the grandmother in the home. You don't see a lot of that anymore, with the grandmother in the home. Because most of us grandmas are now grandmas. We're not at the house rocking babies anymore.
Right now, my mother lives with my sister and my sister's daughter in New York. Those three women live together now. And I'm constantly checking on them to see if they're driving each other crazy yet.
How's it working?
It seems to be working good still.
It does seem to be. I'm glad for that. So again, in parenting, that relay race, you learn something. You learn something from each generation. You learn something. You learn how to do it easier. You learn how to build upon something from it. That's where that was one of the reasons why there was this tremendous disparagement in success in college graduates between African Americans and non-African American families, because we didn't have the example to build. We didn't have the building blocks for building wealth, those other things. We didn't have the ability to rely upon the real estate that was purchased 3 generations ago.
We couldn't build wealth through real estate, and that's the best way.
Right. We couldn't. We couldn't buy it, but not only that, we didn't have the capital to buy it, because the real estate is begetting real estate. And you imagine at 23 years old, someone giving you a $10,000 endowment to buy your first home. They're giving you the foundation to begin.
That's a big part of it. But when the World War II ended and all these GIs came back, the GIs all got paid the same amount of money. Okay. Now, the GIs, when they came out of the military, all of the GIs were eligible to get mortgages, guaranteed mortgages by the government, except for the black GIs. The white GIs all rushed to get homes. They all got low interest rate mortgages that they could afford, making the same money. Okay. All of them could have got this, but what that did was it allowed those people post World War II to get homes and have homes that they could afford on one income that they could pass down to a child. And that put wealth into that family. Insidious.
And so that's some of the ways that the relay race would have really helped to bring about success in those families. But because of the inequity in that, there wasn't.
And education.
This
is easiest to me because, to quote the great Tony Robbins, our current lie is this: we believe what we believe up until now, and then once we learn more, we'll move that belief to a different place. I was doing a lot of history yesterday, actually, during my cigar. I was looking at on YouTube things that we were taught in school that just weren't true, or historical events that just didn't happen. Okay, there were amazing things myths that we accept as truth that just were not truth?
I am afraid to even know.
Well, it was little stuff, stuff like Paul Revere, the red coats are coming, red coats are coming. No, he didn't. He didn't do any of that stuff. The only reason why they said because Revere rhymed with the word clear when they told the story. On a midnight clear, the great ride of Paul Revere. Okay, Paul Revere was a part of a group. Okay, little things like that. A lot of things we learned in history. Christopher Columbus landed on Plymouth Rock. No, he didn't. He landed in the Bahamas. He landed in those countries, and he never made it to America. Okay, things we learned in school, but just weren't true. Benjamin Franklin discovering electricity with a kite with a key on it. That's not how that happened. People had learned about electricity a long time ago, and he was confirming it. Okay, and he didn't even do it with a kite and a key. Okay, but it's an interesting story. George Washington chopping down a cherry tree as a child. That's the whole story didn't happen at all. Okay, had a hatchet. I cannot tell a lie. They just had to come up with a way to make him seem honest. Okay, but there's a lot of stuff like that. But it was interesting to me, something to watch while I smoke a cigar.
Well, I'm not sure if that's where I was going with it.
It probably wasn't, but you pulled my string about history stuff that didn't happen. I was watching, and there's a bunch of those things too.
Yeah, I don't know if I would watch those things.
You would never watch them?
No.
They wouldn't be interesting to you?
Not at all. Not in the least.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to be in the dark?
But in education,
the red pill in the Matrix.
I wouldn't.
The red pill is the key.
Brian, in education, the way that we build is that each grade is the stepping stone to the next.
Okay.
And so often what happens when we're trying to succeed in education is that a fundamental building block is either overlooked or misrepresented. And that can unfortunately set people back from being able to move to where they're supposed to go.
Example.
An example?
Yeah. You got one?
Yeah, I can give you an example. For me, as it related to geometry, there were some things that they had not fundamentally explained relative to geometry, which then made a big missing piece to even build on, to go from geometry to go from algebra to geometry to trigonometry to calculus, all those things. There were no connecting links. And so once I missed one link, all of the rest of them were like, throw the whole thing away.
I get it. And now I see where you were going with that. If you didn't get that prerequisite knowledge, the rest of it makes no sense. Just like if you don't understand algebra, you have no chance at calculus. Okay, no chance. Okay, because you have to know algebra to understand calculus at all. My brain went to a different place when you started going down that road. For example, how much of history is just recorded by the winners, whoever won that battle, and how much of history is just whoever is most persuasive? And the knowledge is whoever was most persuasive. For example, Aristotle taught that heavier objects fell to the ground faster than lighter objects. Okay, so you get a big heavy rock and it'll fall faster than a little red rock. Okay, and that's what they taught in the universities. Mm-hmm. And then there comes this young whippersnapper named Galileo.
Galileo Galilei.
Yes, he went to the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and he put different size rocks on boards, and he had scientists on the bottom and scientists on top, and he'd flip the board over, and he'd show them and prove his point that every time the rocks all hit the ground at the same time. Big rocks didn't fall faster than little rocks. They all fell the same speed.
Yeah.
Right?
And
however, even though he proved his point, guess what they kept teaching in the universities for another 80 more years? Mm-hmm. Aristotle's method, because he had proved his point, but he did not persuade them to take a new act.
And to be quite honest, I don't believe he proved his point, because
he showed it.
No, he didn't. Okay. He didn't. He had to eliminate all outside forces in order for his proof to work.
What do you mean?
A penny and a feather are not going to fall at the same rate.
That's right.
If there's wind.
That's right.
Right. So then it's not true. It's not true.
But a penny and a quarter?
Penny and a quarter are not going to fall at the same rate if there is wind, because wind is going to have an impact on the weight and the direction of that object.
So in a vacuum.
In a vacuum is not true. No, that's not true. That's not true. You're not dropping pennies in a vacuum. You're dropping pennies and feathers in an open environment. And that's why it's not true. The reason why it's not true is because there will be too many necessary modifications for him to prove his point. The point is simply that they fall at the same rate. Now, they fall at the same rate only if they are impacted by the same.
Do you have some
impact.
irritation in your voice right now, Lisa?
No, why?
Apparently you do, because one of our more perceptive co-producers says, Brian and Lisa's voice, it sounds like she's going to drop the price to 75 cents. LOL, because you had said earlier you can have them for $1. And now you're going to drop the price to 75 cents. So is there something in your voice this morning, baby?
No, not at all.
No. Somebody heard you.
No. Brittany says, I've been listening in this morning. Good stuff.
I don't know, baby.
No.
What are you saying? Okay, so it's 9:35. Did we get all 5?
No, we're up to 4.
Okay, let's go to 5 now.
And number 5 is in coaching.
What do you mean?
One of the five areas that the relay race equals success is in coaching. In coaching, it is principle upon principle, precept upon precept. Just like religion, just like spirituality, anything, it intensifies as it's built upon. And sometimes if the foundation is not strong, then what will happen is it'll fall. It'll fail to support the belief. So in coaching, when you have a good foundation, when your initial when the initial works that you're doing to unravel or to address whatever issue you're being coached on or helped with, when it is a good foundation, and then you build upon that. So you may go from having someone to work with you on unmet needs to move forward into moving into limiting beliefs and so on and so forth. If you have those foundations upon foundations, principles upon principles, it will be helpful in moving you to your success.
Absolutely. It takes more than one kind. Why does Oprah have 5 different coaches? Why does Tiger Woods have 5 different coaches? It takes more than one time. But there are some coaching you need before you can get to another type of coach. For example, Oprah Winfrey as a billionaire. Would she be an effective coach for you who work corporate and had never had your own business yet? Could Oprah be an effective coach for you? Well, you haven't gone through certain levels to be able to understand what she might offer.
Absolutely. And so those degrees become a part of the relay race that will move you to the success that you're looking for. And having each of those elements addressed from one way to the next will help you to find that success better, faster than you could in your own.
All right, so we've covered 5 ways that life is a relay race. Now we're going to do our greeting songs now. Greeting songs, and greeting logos for those of you who have been consistent contributors to the show. Those of you who've been rocking with us for years, you've earned these greeting songs, and we're going to bless you with them now. Let's go to the top, baby.
Absolutely. And thank you all for tuning in with us right here on Let's Talk About It with the Empowerment Duo. Again, I am Lisa Santiago McNeill.
I am Brian Keith McNeill.
And our first song up is William Brown.
Good morning to our friend Bill.
Nobody thinks like him still. We love him so, and we always will. Our friend Bill.
Good morning, Bill. Don't be rushing my Bill song either. You be rushing me.
I'm sorry. Was that fast? I'm sorry.
I go a little slower.
Yeah, you do.
Follow my lead, girl.
Mm-hmm. Vivian says, I need all the help I can get, please.
And guess who else does? Guess who else
All
needs
of
all the help we
us.
can get? And guess who needs all the prayer we can get?
All of us.
Right. We need all the help we can get, and we all need all the prayer that we can get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Time
I
for
need your
Melissa,
prayers.
baby.
That's why I took my sip of water. I need your prayers. I need your goodwill, and I want to engender that. Bow, 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 bow. Melissa's on. Now it's time for us to sing her song.
Melissa's on.
Good morning, Miss Melissa Price. How you
Good
doing?
morning, Melissa. Thank you so
Sherelle
much
T.
for
James,
joining us.
good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. It's Brittany. It's Brittany. It's Brittany. Brittany Thomas. It's Brittany.
It's
Brittany. It's Brittany. Brittany. It's your time. It's your time. Yeah.
Good morning, Miss Brittany Thomas. How you doing?
Absolutely. Dr. Beverly's here.
Dr. Beverly is on the show. Good morning, Dr. Beverly. How you
Really
doing?
loud.
I know it came out there a little bit. Miss Phyllis is here.
Miss Phyllis
So
is
clear the
here.
way. Miss Phyllis is here. Now we can all have a great day.
Good morning, Miss Phyllis.
Good
And
morning.
Cynthia Murray. I got that sister with me.
Good morning, Cynthia Murray. How you doing?
Thank you for joining us. Author
At
Lynette.
this table we sit.
Making it legit.
Because when Lynette hits the show,
Aw. Good
is it
morning,
that
Author
every
Lynette.
picture Lynette posts got her boo with her?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's all right, though. That's all right.
I absolutely love it, love it, love it. I haven't seen Dr. Deborah this morning, so I can't sing her song. But
she did do her thing last night.
Oh, she did. Absolutely, absolutely.
On Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m., Dr. Deborah Dunstan hosts a show called
A Healing Moment with Dr. Deborah.
A Healing Moment with Dr. Deborah.
Absolutely.
Oh, now I remember. Where we ended up landing on the men's meeting last night. We spent a great deal of time talking about the twin demons that impact us all. The twin demons, and they're equally as strong. The fear of failure.
And the fear.
And the fear of success. The fear of failure. What if they see me fail and laugh at me or mock me or talk about me behind my back?
They're all going to laugh at you.
They're all going to laugh at you, Carolyn.
Laugh at you.
Okay, that's the fear of failure. What if they see me? The fear of success. If I start making all this money,
so much responsibility.
I'm going to have more responsibility. People are going to say you changed. People are going to ask me about this. They're going to say I'm different, and I'm going to be away from my family and friends. I'm going to lose family and friends if I make a lot of money, or if I do this thing right there. They're going to talk about me. That's the fear of success.
I don't see it. Talked about mistreated, been mute.
Man, and I even did a video about one way to conquer those. One way to conquer the fear of failure and the fear of success. But I do believe those are the twin demons that we have to conquer. Whenever you talk about the fear of success, I always go back, and when Lisa does that riff about being lied on, cheated, and all talked about mistreated, I go back to Oprah Winfrey's quote: "Until you can handle being talked about,
you ain't ready.
You're not ready for success."
She wasn't ready.
If you can't handle being talked about, according to Oprah now, and she has no reason to lie to us, if you can't handle being talked about, you're not yet ready for success.
Absolutely. For those who don't know, one of my guilty pleasures is Cardi B. I actually love Cardi B. I admire her. I think she's awesome.
Coronavirus is real. That's Cardi.
I know who she is. And one of the most heart-moving Instagram posts that she had done, I don't know if it was an Instagram or not, but where she says she was talking about wishing she could just be a regular person again.
You can. I've seen her no makeup in the mall.
No, that's not what I mean. Yeah, that's not what I mean. That she had to deal with so many people turning on her. She had to deal with so many people, talking about her and all those things in order to have success. And it was painful. And it's painful. But you know what? You have to learn. You have to decide whether or not you can endure that. Now, I do want to invite you back here to the Empowerment Network tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon, Heart to Heart Conversations with Stephanie is Thursday at noon. And today Today at 4 p.m., we have a live with Lisa Santiago, Stories of
On
Overcoming.
Wednesdays.
On Wednesday at 4 p.m., my special guest tonight is Taria Hodge.
What?
And she's going to share her
The social
shine
media
story.
maven?
That's right. The social media maven is going to share her shine
Now,
story.
before we leave that quote about Oprah, until you can handle being talked about, you're not ready for success.
Mhm.
This is a question, Lisa,
Mhm.
the converse of that true? That once you can handle being talked about without it throwing you off your game, without it causing you to lose your enthusiasm, if you can hear people lie on you and talk junk about you and you still maintain your levels of enthusiasm for your work, does that equal you're now ready for the success you're seeking?
Yeah, I think that's the challenge. I think that it does equal. I think it does equal. I think that you cannot get to the place where you're ready for your next level until you have overcome some of the drawbacks and demons from that initial level, from worrying about what people think, from worrying about those who are not going forward with you, from worrying about who doesn't agree.
Especially if it's just blatantly false. But
I don't think you can worry about whether it's false or not.
You can't worry about whether it's
No,
false or not.
because in all honesty, someone's opinion is their own. Someone else's opinion. Now, I'm not telling you not to do a character check on yourself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it is important to do character check, integrity check, on yourself. But you have got to be, in order to be ready for the next level, you have got to be in control of yourself.
Your emotions,
Mhm.
your energy levels, your enthusiasms.
Yeah, and your concerns about how other people feel about stuff. That needs to really be none of your business.
I think you got a good point.
And
I heard, Lisa, you eat babies.
Yeah, I do.
You know, Lisa's a baby eater.
Yeah.
You know, Lisa, everyone's talking about how you eat babies. I don't eat no daggone baby.
I don't even have, those are some of the things that you can't even respond to. You have to get to the place where some of the things that people's opinions, even if it's like, oh, so my goodness, horrible, whatever, you've got to be able to ignore it. And I know that Brian has a school of thought that there are some things that you respond to right away.
I teach people the 4 chances you get to overcome an objection. Okay, the 4 chances you get to overcome an objection. And the 4th one was never. I don't think you should ever bother overcoming nonsense. When people throw nonsense at you, my first suggestion is to ignore it. Okay, yeah. If it comes up again, to ignore it again. And if it comes up a 3rd time, say, I heard you the last 2 times. But don't spend energy trying to overcome nonsense. That's the 4th criteria I use, yes. And the 4 chances you get to overcome an objection. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Beverly says, now that's how you stay lost in between 2 opinions, confused. And she goes on to say, I don't think so. If you can handle the talk, it doesn't mean you are ready for the work that it takes to become successful.
But it doesn't mean that you're not either.
Yeah.
I think it's a part of it. Isn't it at least a part, Beverly?
I think that if you can, so she said, if you can handle the talk, it doesn't mean you're ready. So here's the thing. I know that there are people who think that nothing bothers them. They don't care what anybody says and all of that. I'm not talking about the ones who say that. I'm talking about the ones who mean that. A lot of people say that it doesn't matter and I don't care what nobody says about this and about that. But they haven't really been tried by the fire yet.
Yeah. Ooh. Let that same person. I don't care what people say about me.
Yeah.
Say something about them and see what happens.
And see what happens.
And it happens immediately.
Absolutely. So I think in that we get to grow to a place where you can handle when someone has anything to say about you. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't hurt. It means that you have learned how to respond to it.
Learn how to handle it. Yeah.
Right. Bill said, I had a coach friend say to me yesterday, Bill, you need to give people space to be a butthole. That has nothing to do with you.
I think I like that. Because sometimes people are going to be buttholes, but that's on them and not you. Coffee time with Coach Ja. What's up, my brother?
Ja is in the house. Boom, boom.
Ja is in the house.
Or should we say Mina Daddy? Because right now she is running the show. Right now
I
she
am
is
so
running the
enjoying the
show.
pictures that Tamika putting out of her holding the
Absolutely.
baby. I'm enjoying them all.
Absolutely. And Ja brought the house down
This past Saturday night.
on Saturday. Oh my goodness. I absolutely love Coffee Time with Coach Ja. Our very own Coach Ja Smalls is the poet extraordinaire. And I'm grateful.
Now,
We miss
speaking
you
of which,
too.
this past Saturday we hosted an event. It was a poet showcase right for Valentine's Day. But this upcoming Saturday at 4 p.m., we are going to host an event. It's the Children's Authors Showcase.
Absolutely.
These are people that have written books specifically for children, but not just for children. And we even are blessed to have some actual children that wrote children's books to be part of the showcase. Join us this Saturday at 4 p.m. This costs you free other than your time. You'll get a chance to hear some amazing stories. If you like stories, now we know there are two types of people that love stories. One type of person that loves stories are children. Children love stories.
Absolutely.
And the other type of person that loves stories are adults. And we know that's true because we have movies and television shows. Okay. Parable, useful fiction. I told useful fiction stories last night in the men's meeting. A couple of them. Come with me. I'll make you fishers of men. Okay. That made sense. That was a parable. You know, I could fish for fish or I could fish for men. Okay, with Jesus. That's a great idea. Okay.
Ja said he had 5 hours of sleep last night. Well, Ja, you should be well rested.
That's
5 hours is a lot.
With a brand new baby?
That's right. With that Miss Mina bossing it up in the house. That is a lot. We're so excited to be able to see her.
That highlights another one. I slept like a baby. Normally means you slept great, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, if you examine that one, I slept like a baby last night. That means you woke up every 2 hours, dying of starvation, screaming and hollering with a mess in your pants.
It does not equate to that. That it depends on how old the baby
Brand new baby. Okay, if you slept like a baby, you woke up every couple of hours. Okay?
Good gracious. Well, once again, you're watching the Empowerment Duo. We are here on the Empowerment Network. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, it is at the Empowerment Duo page. If you're watching us on YouTube, we're on ESPTV7, the Empowerment Speakerpreneurs Network. And if you are just sitting at home, you can say, hey, Alexa, play the Empowerment Duo and podcast, and she will pick up and begin to play us live for you.
I did it yesterday, tried it out for the first time yesterday. It made me interesting. As I listened to it on the podcast, I was wondering, should we be doing this show with a soundtrack, behind the music or something?
Yeah, that's
softly playing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to require us to get some royalty-free music.
Well, there is royalty-free music available.
Absolutely. So that's something we could definitely discuss for future productions.
Just thinking about it.
Absolutely. Now, the Empowerment Network is building and growing. You know that you can follow us right here at 10 a.m. with Coffee Time with Coach Ja on the Empowerment Network, as well as 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with one-word conversations with Bill Brown. Today's word is permission. Make sure that you tune in at 11. And then on Tuesday nights at 8:30, you have Dr. Deborah, a healing moment with Dr. Deborah. On Thursdays at 12 noon, you have heart-to-heart conversations with Stephanie.
Every Wednesday at 4 p.m. you have
Stories of Overcoming live with Lisa Santiago.
And on the first and third Tuesday at 7 p.m. of every calendar month, we have Male Empowerment Networks. MEN, Male Empowerment Networks of men and teenage men. We meet on the first Tuesday of each calendar month and the third Tuesday of each calendar month. We've been doing it since 2013. We've been doing that. So now we're into year number, 8? 8. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, those are not broadcast live. That Male Empowerment Networks is a private meeting where you actually get to join virtually. You can go to you can go to the link in this broadcast and you can click on it to be added to the mailing list so that you can get the invitation for that. And then on the first Friday of every month, ladies, join us for Women Empowerment Networks live virtually. And we look forward to having you guys all there. So
Lisa got her feet done. They look very pretty now.
thank you, sweetie.
Especially since I've been lotioning them up every night.
Yeah, because I could be ashy. See you later, Ja. Make sure that you tune in following us with Coffee Time with Coach Ja. We love you guys. It's Wednesday.
Hump day, evaluation day.
So don't forget to have